Okay, welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another episode of the Ball Hawks podcast here on Sunday, January 30th. January's kind of flown by. I am your host, Steve Fisher. You can find me on Twitter at ssfisher87. And my co-host for this week, you might not recognize him. We have a struggling but trooper still decided to go through with the episode, even though he's sick. Chris Phillips. I would say, how are you doing? But I feel like that's maybe like a shot at you at this point.
I'm here.
You did it.
Yeah, I made it. Yeah, guys, there's a reason we didn't do a conference championship preview show revealing our picks. Somebody's been stuck in isolation for the last 5 days. I'm on day 5 right now, actually, and never tested positive because our wonderful BC government isn't testing people. Apparently, they just say, assume you have it and isolate for 5 days because that's convenient. But yeah, so I did Thursday and Friday were kind of the 2 days that made the most sense to record that episode, and those are the 2 days that I was feeling the worst, especially on Thursday. I said to Steve, there was no way I would have been able to record on Thursday. But yeah, happy to be here for our conference championship post-game show to reveal our picks. We did throw them out on Twitter. Not good. We are, of course, a part of
last week. A lot better than last week.
Yeah, we are a part of the Dean Blundell Network. You can find us over on Twitter at ballhawks_pod. And don't forget my personal account at PhillipsChris12. And Steve, from what I've seen on social media, it was an exciting weekend in the Fisher household.
Yeah, it sure was. I mean, nothing as exciting as the James Earl Jones thing you've got going on there.
I have no control over that.
The whole like sexy deep voice going on here. He's more than just a Seahawks fan, peeps.
You can also find me at 1-900.
Yeah, we obviously I was spamming Twitter the last 24 hours. We got ourselves a new little puppy. And of course I put it out there, you know, we didn't name him right away. We were kind of feeling it out. What does the dog look like to us? What does it feel like? And Ravens Twitter came in hot with a lot of Ravens themed ones. There was Ray Lewis, there was Suggs, there was Lamar, there was Jackson, there was Tucker. It's not like I was going to look at a name and be like, oh, Sizzle, perfect. I'm going to call my dog Sizzle. You got to think of like calling across the dog park and being like, hey, Sizz. Like, probably doesn't really fit. So yeah, we went with Jasper. He's a menace. He's like a puppy, everything you would expect, all the loving cuddles and soft puppy fur and beautiful puppy smell, but loves to bite and incessantly whine all the time. So it's like I've rewound the clock a few years and back to the infant newborn stage where your thing that you have in your house can't communicate or tell you what they need, and as a result they whine. So kids prep me for a new puppy.
Let's not pretend that 5 and 3.
Yeah, he's almost 4 now.
Yeah, I was gonna say I think he's 4 soon, but not quite. But let's not pretend that 5 and 3-year-olds know how to communicate effectively, though.
Depends what mood they're in.
I have 7 and 4 in my household, and they certainly cannot communicate effectively.
So funny. We have our buddy Liam here, who is riding the high of highs in the football world. Congratulations, Liam. We're going to get to, the Bengals game, which is why he's on here in a little bit. But isn't it kind of wild? We're just a couple of weeks ago, we were making fun of Bengals fans, for being able to send a tweet saying you have now won a playoff game to now saying you're going to the dance. So we'll hit that a little bit later, but congratulations, Liam. I remember my team going into the Super Bowl way back, and it's super exciting, and it's a lot of fun, a lot of stress when the actual day gets there. And yes, he usually is whining all the time, mixed in with a little bit of me whining when I don't get my deserved first down, basically.
So you got given all those Raven name suggestions, and you decided to not go with any of them?
That's right. Now, the funny thing about this, so Alyssa came up with Jasper, and I heard Jasper, and I was like, at the time, I was like, I don't know anyone else that's named their dog Jasper. It turns out I was just drawing a blank because one of my coworkers, who I know named her dog Jasper, named her dog Jasper. So, yeah, it's kind of funny though. She came up with the name. Sienna really liked the name, so we kind of just went with it. He looks like a Jasper, and now she can't stop calling him Jackson, which is kind of ironic. Like she's Jackson. I'm like, hey, we didn't call him Jackson. We went with Jasper. I keep calling him Jackson. Lots of fun stuff there. I do notice something sitting in your background, Christopher, and I feel like you need to, do your shameless plug time here.
That photo's always been there.
Yeah. No. So Chris got himself a little piece of hardware. Look at that beauty. It's the full-size replica helmet, the Russ signature in, I think it's neon green, right? That's not okay.
Yeah.
There's a little bit of a flare there.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Do you want to tell everyone what that's for? You might as well brag because next year the trophy's not coming home with you. So,
yeah. First of all, thank you to Steve and everyone else in my fantasy football league for the donation, and your contribution towards that wonderful helmet that I just showed off there. Whenever I win fantasy football, like everyone's like, oh, like I don't know, like I play fantasy football for fun. Like I don't win the money and be like, oh, I'm gonna pay bills with this money now. It's like, no, like I play fantasy football for fun. So like when I win, I want to commemorate it with something that's fun. And I collect memorabilia. I have a lot of autographed photos in my basement. I have an autographed Matt Hasselbeck jersey. I didn't want to do a jersey. I didn't want to do a photo because I have lots of those already. So I was like, let's do something different. I was like, I either want a football or I want a helmet. And I kind of landed on on the helmet. I just liked it a little bit better than the football. It's, again, just something different, something that's going to stand out, going to pop, especially once I get it in a case and kind of displayed properly.
I think it's kind of funny how you got like this whole flex thing going on behind you. You're like, there's championship 1, there's championship 2. So
yeah,
if any of you from Whistleblowing Unicorns are listening, suck it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, the Richard Sherman the tip photo is from Fantasy Football Championship number 1. The helmet is now from Fantasy Football Championship. Well, technically it's number 4, but that's okay. Because the year that the year that I won Whistleblowers for the first time, I actually won another league that same year. So I won 2 leagues. I had never won before and won 2 leagues in the same year. So the TV in my bedroom is also from Fantasy Football Championship number 1.
Nice.
Championship number 3. I don't think I actually bought myself anything with championship number 3. But this time around I did. And shout out to Mill Creek Sports out of Washington. They were great. I was looking at it online and looking at the pictures that they had on their website, and it looked like there was a lot of bubbling in the decals. So I sent them a message and said, hey guys, like I just have some questions. Like, is that kind of how they all are? Do they all have that bubbling? And they're like, let me check. I'll go down to the warehouse. I'll check them all out and I'll send you some pictures. So they sent me some pictures of this exact helmet. I said, yeah, that looks great. Like, I'll definitely go jump online and I'll order it. And they gave me a discount. They're like, okay, that sounds great. Like, we appreciate the support. Here's a code for 10% off.
Nice.
Cool. So I go to order. Unfortunately, the code didn't work. The code was only for American clients. It doesn't work outside of America, which was fine because it was free shipping. I said that to them. I was like, the code didn't work. I was like, but the free shipping more than makes up for it. And it's literally, they shipped me the exact helmet that they sent me pictures of. They put on like the invoice, or like helmet put aside in the warehouse. They had my name on a sticky note on the box. Like, it's like, nice. This is for Chris, like, send him this one. So yeah, I'm super thrilled about it. It got here super quick. Actually, my Richard Sherman photo is from the same place.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So I guess every time I win fantasy football championships, I'm hitting up Mill Creek.
You're gonna have some fans tweeting out you to win every year now.
Yeah.
Looks like our buddy Glassy there, who I think we're gonna, spoiler alert, get on the podcast for a little special episode. I love hearing about these things. So he says, loser in my pool today against me has to handcuff a 4-liter jug of water to their hand for 24 hours. I love the loser shame things that you have to do. I've always been a fan of those kind of things, especially if you have to go to work tomorrow. People are like, what are you doing?
Right.
Well, it is fantasy football season, so
yeah. And boys are dumb. Boys are dumb, and we make dumb bets.
Yeah.
Actually, speaking of bets, really quickly, did you see on Twitter, a guy made a $20 bet today, and he bet on what the final scores of both games would be. So he predicted Bengals Chiefs 27-24, and he predicted Rams Niners 20-17. $20 bet. How much do you think he won?
Couple thousand, probably.
$579,000. $500,000 on a $20 bet.
Wow. Imagine that. Like, imagine when that game is coming down to it, and like, especially at the very end there, you're like, oh my goodness, please don't tie this game up. Please don't tie this game up.
Especially when Garoppolo throws that interception. Like, if that was a pick six, that guy's bet would have been out the window, right?
Yeah, for sure.
And it was so close to being a pick six.
That's so funny. Before we get into the championship round games here, we've got a little bit of news from around the NFL. I'm actually going to... No, let's start. He deserves it. The greatest, the GOAT, Timothy Brady is calling it quits. I can't even remember. I was helping our buddy Ted move, and I was actually with Ryan, the boys from the PP1 podcast, and we're sitting in the storage locker moving some things around, and I see you message into the group chat, and I just stopped, and I was like staring at my phone, being like, "Holy crap!" And they're like, "What?" And I was like, "Okay, you guys haven't seen group chat yet." No, what? I think Brady's retiring. He's like, "No way!" Like, why? And then we got into this whole like very unproductive conversation when we're trying to like help a guy move his stuff into storage, about should he retire, or like why is he retiring? He could easily still go and play at the highest level next year. But what a career. And the first thing I said was, it might be the greatest sports career. Like, if we want to put it up there with like, it's easily the greatest football career of all time, but maybe even the greatest sports career, period. Like, he's done and doing things that will never be touched again. So I don't see the 7 Super Bowls ever being touched.
No, like, but I mean, when we're talking sports, like, there's so like, that's such a wide realm. Like, I mean, you'd have to throw what Michael Phelps did at the Olympics into that conversation.
True.
There's, I'm sure, Roger Federer and tennis, or I don't know which one of the Williams sisters, but one of the Williams sisters in tennis as well. I know one of them's better than the other one.
Serena.
It's Serena. There you go. Yeah. Throw Serena into the mix, right? But it's pretty what I mean, I'm not that surprised. I heard something about when Tom said that it was like, I need to be there, like something along the lines of like needing to be there more for his wife and kids, and needing to be a husband, needing to be a husband and a father, and that they deserve his time. And as soon as I saw that, I was like, that's it. He's done. Like that's his. I was like, that's his bluff. I was like, if I was playing poker with Tom Brady and he said something like that, I was like, that's your bluff. Like, there has been backtracking, and his agent has said that he's not retiring, and his company TB12 tweeted like that he was retiring, and then they deleted their tweet, and there's been this whole back and forth. And I think really what it is Tom's pissed off that Adam Schefter took away his moment from him, and didn't give Brady the opportunity to announce it himself, or even contact, because it sounds like he hadn't even contacted the Bucs yet to let them know. Which is fair. Like Brady, that is his news to share, right? Like, he does have every right to be pissed off about it. But we were talking earlier today and talking about bluffs and tells and things that are telling me he is retiring. I was on Twitter today, and if you type in #Brady, there's a little emoji that now goes with it, and it's a little goat wearing a number 12 jersey.
No way.
Yeah, so that as well tells me that he is retiring. If Twitter's getting ready with a hashtag for him with a little goat wearing a 12 jersey, those things aren't free. Like those things cost $1 million for Twitter to program into their system. So
really,
yeah, those things aren't free. You gotta if you want a Twitter hashtag emoji, you have to pay for that, because I mean Twitter has to program it to so that the system does that, right?
Yeah.
And so again, that's just another tell for me that that this is it. And he's working on that video to release and announce it, kind of like Roethlisberger did, but his will be much better.
Yeah. He's going to hire the best of the best to make sure. And I'm sure there's going to be a press conference and maybe like, who knows, but whatever it is, he absolutely deserves it. It's going to be super weird. The NFL, I was just thinking about in the last few years, kind of these iconic quarterbacks that have been retiring, whether it be Phillip Rivers or Drew Brees or Roethlisberger and now Brady. The NFL, it literally is like the changing of the guard now, right? Where there's such a huge turnover where, especially in these playoffs, we've seen these kind of young up and coming quarterbacks steal the show and prove it's kind of their era to take over football. So good for him. Obviously, when you're talking about family stuff, the family comes first. And I feel like he's been talking about the fact that he needs to be there for the family for quite some time now. And it's just sort of, okay, one more year. And then at some point you've got to say like, sorry, bud, but you're not living forever. So you might want to start getting those memories in, like as a father and as a husband, and where you don't have to have your time manipulated by just the game of football.
Yeah. And I just want to quickly add in there. The league needs to do what the NHL did with Wayne Gretzky and throw out the Hall of Fame rules for this one player. The second he retires, Tom Brady, you're in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
Like, like there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. We know it's going to happen 5 years from now anyways, or whatever the rule is. Put him in right now. He deserves to be there. It make him a class of his own. I don't care how you do it. Just get him in right away.
I mean, yeah, it makes a lot of sense. My thought process is whatever's going to make the NFL the most money is how they are going to retire Brady. So maybe they want to talk about it for the next 5 years and hype it up, and I don't know what you do. But whatever they do, it's going to be a spectacle, and they're going to make a lot of money off of his retirement. Just one more thing here before we move into the championship round games. A little Ravens news for some of our listeners here. They would have already known, but the Ravens have hired one of their former coaches who left for a year. Mike McDonald is going to be the Ravens defensive coordinator. He started out with the Ravens in 2014. I think he was like an intern. I don't know if he actually had like an actual role with the team or if it was like just strictly intern, but he became a defensive assistant. Then he was a DB's coach and a linebackers coach, I think between 2017 and 2020. Last year, he went to Michigan to be with the other Harbaugh brother, Jim, and he led Michigan to their first like win over Ohio State in eons, and got into the college football playoffs.
Playoffs.
We can only use that like one more time now that the playoffs are almost over.
Don't tell me how to live my life.
Well, can't overuse it, bud. So I'm pretty excited about it. He's young. He's only 34 years old. And he obviously is kind of new into the realm of defensive coordinator. That was his title in Michigan just for 1 year. But we're kind of seeing that new age, new wave of even coaches. Well, I mean, we're going to talk about the fact that, the age, I tweeted this out. If I don't think this has ever happened. I didn't go back and look at every coach, but the last coach who was under 50 years old to make a Super Bowl was Mike McCarthy when he went there with the Packers in 2011. Now, I don't think that there's ever been a Super Bowl where you have a coach who's 38, which is what Zach Taylor is, and Sean McVay, who's 36. Like two coaches under 40 years old making the Super Bowl. I don't think it's ever happened. Someone can fact check me if they want, but I kind of like this idea that they're bringing in like a new fresh mind who has ties to the organization. You know what you're getting out of him already because you've had him in the building before, and he kind of proved to you by leaving and going to Michigan and putting together a stout defense there that maybe it is his time. The big one for me was I heard a couple grumblings that Rob Ryan was going to be in conversation for defensive coordinator. And I was like, oh, sweet baby Jesus, please no. I know Ravens fans, the aura of Rex Ryan being, a successful defensive coordinator for the franchise. I did see a few people saying they wanted to see Rob Ryan get the shot. I don't think he's that good. His time with the Saints, I'd have to go back and look at numbers, but I don't think they ever had a top 5 defense under Rob Ryan. So exciting news. Obviously, I wanted Don Wink Martindale to return, but that obviously wasn't in the cards. And they get somebody brought in who they're familiar with, and I'm hoping to see a resurgence back into the top 5 for this defense. It's kind of like the Ravens identity as a franchise. They've always had strong defenses. They've put the pillars on the Ray Lewises, the Ed Reeds, the Terrell Suggs of the world. So hopefully we can get back there this year. Now, on to the early game. We had the new kids on the block, the new Bengals kids on the block coming in to take on the powerhouse of the AFC, the Kansas City Chiefs in Arrowhead. And they walk in there and I don't even know what to say about these guys anymore. Like, I'm pretty sure I would have to go back and listen to it, but I'm pretty sure when they won that first playoff game, I said, look, nobody's, saying they're going to make it to the Super Bowl, but this is a team that is playing with house money. They're playing free. They're playing loose, and they're exciting, man. They're never out of a game because Joe Burrow is as icy as could be. Uh, this team looks like they have a legit shot of winning their first ever franchise Super Bowl, and they did it on the leg of the Mac Attack. Evan McPherson in overtime kicks a field goal and doubles down again. I don't have the exact quote of it, but I think he walked over to Zach Taylor and he said, "Hey, coach, look, it's happening again. But this time we're going to the Super Bowl," kind of
Did
thing.
he really?
Yeah, he totally doubled down is what I heard. I'd have to look up the exact thing, but that doesn't surprise me. A kid basically who is running sky high with confidence. Why not run this confidence for as long as you possibly can? And I mean, the first thing I thought of was these kids don't know what it's like to be devastated in the NFL yet. Like, they have no demons on them. They have no sort of like preconceived notions. Like, Evan McPherson doesn't go up there and think, "Oh my goodness, what if I miss in the Super Bowl?" The only thing that kid's known is I kick clutch field goals. The only thing Joe Burrow knows is I can win any game. Right. And so I don't even know what to say about this team anymore. They are going to be a serious problem for a long time. I'm going to oust myself a little bit here because there's a funny little fun fact here. I don't know if you saw my Twitter thing. I got today.
Oh yeah, I saw that.
I got. So I turn on the TV. I'm kind of looking through like Sportsnet, TSN, those things. I was like, what? I don't even know where the game is, and I'm a little frazzled because we got a new puppy running around, and kids are like, "Make me breakfast." And so I see a game, and I know that the AFC game is coming first, but I see San Fran at LA, and I'm like, "Oh, okay, that game's on." So I click on it and just sort of let it fizzle off into the background. And this is how bad it was, dude. I watched an entire half of a replayed game before I was scrolling Twitter, and someone had made a comment about how Orlando Brown just sat down an edge rusher or something like that. And I was like, what? Like, that's not happening right now. And I looked at the time of the tweet. I was like, yeah, it was like 5 minutes ago. Well, what the hell is going on right now? And I look up at the TV, and as I look up at the TV, the announcer goes, "And for the 49ers, they win this game and they're in the playoffs." And I'm like, oh, geez. Like, how dumb do you have to be to watch a whole half? So that's how mine started. What did you think of the morning game?
Those Bengals, man. Like,
those Bengals.
I mean, they were lucky to only be down by 11 points at the half. Eli Apple made a huge, potentially game-saving tackle right at the end of the first half there, which why Mahomes didn't throw that ball into the end zone is beyond me.
Yeah.
But Eli Apple tackled Tyreek Hill on the 1 yard line, preventing another touchdown. So yeah, I mean the Bengals. I can't remember who the sideline reporter was, but they said like Zach Taylor's like, yeah, like we feel like we're in a good position. We're a second half team. We're only down 11 points. Like, let's go. Sort of was their mentality, and it's just wild. Like, Joe Burrow is the first overall draft pick to lead his team to the Super Bowl within their first 2 years of playing. He has the potential to be the first player ever to win a Heisman, a national championship, and a Super Bowl. No one else has ever done that. Yeah, right. He's just like cool as a cucumber. Like, pressure does not faze him. I saw you tweet something earlier, like can you imagine what they're going to look like if they get a couple offensive line pieces? Like,
oh my gosh. If
like
this guy's winning high profile games when he gets sacked 9 times or like is getting completely, drawn in the pocket, even one superior O lineman, and this is a whole different conversation.
yeah, well, like you said, I mean, they're already going to be trouble for years to come. Get him some, excuse me, sorry. Get him some offensive line pieces and watch out, man. Like, you think they're good now, watch out. But I mean, the overtime, of course, it was like, great, this game's going to come down to a coin flip again, and then the Chiefs win it, and the stadium just erupts when they win the coin toss, which I saw a couple of things being like, oh, like the fans are so cocky thinking that they're going to win the game just because they won the coin toss. But, well, no, like, they're excited because their team gets the ball first, so they get the first opportunity to win the game. Like, I don't think there's anything wrong with the way they erupted and the way they cheered in that situation. I would have done the same thing.
I would be amped. Like,
yeah,
hey,
I would have done the same thing.
Shot of going down and winning this game right now.
Yeah. Personally, I feel on the interception that Mahomes threw in overtime, he tried 2 underneath passes that didn't click, and then he's just like, yeah, whatever, I'll just throw it deep. Tyreek will catch it. Like, I feel like it was just like maybe like a cocky, like overconfident, like, he's down there somewhere type throw, and Jesse Bates made just a phenomenal, like I texted in our group chat there, like, he just got in there with his hand and just goes, nope, boink, and pokes it to Von Bell. I love it, man. I think it's absolutely awesome. Good for the Bengals. I was texting Liam earlier today, being like, when I was, younger in my 20s and less jaded than I am now in my 30s. I used to have the Seahawks as my team, and because they were in the NFC, I was like, well, I'll pick an AFC team. Why not? And the Bengals were my AFC team. But now I'm jaded and I hate everybody else except the Seahawks. So
you're salty, as we found out on Twitter.
Yeah. I'm salty. Super salty, bro.
Like, you don't cheer for other teams in sports.
Yeah.
Who would have thought?
Yeah, I actually got into an argument with a Niners fan tonight on Twitter. Speaking of being salty, I guess. I don't know.
I feel like that would happen more often than not being, the Niners for you.
Probably. Yeah. Oh, yeah. I argue with Niners fan base more than any other fan base. That's why they're my number one arch rival.
Right. That's funny. You were texting him and I text him saying, hey, they might do this. And he responds with, I'll talk to you after the game. Don't you dare start jinxing this now. Yeah. And I just laugh. And that's when Burrow threw his pick and he goes, see?
Yeah. I didn't
response to him was I can't remember what it was. If I had that kind of power, I wouldn't be teaching middle school students for peanuts on the dollar. Like, I would be making a lot more money if I had the psychic abilities to call jinxes of all things.
Yeah. I didn't text until after the game was done. And I just texted him all caps, dude. And then we talked for a little bit after that and whatever. But yeah, it's pretty cool. I know another Bengals fan as well, a guy that I've played fantasy football with for quite a few years in one of the another league that I've played in the past. He's a big Bengals fan, so I'm sure he's super amped as well. Like I said, I don't know. It's fun to see new teams in the Super Bowl. It's fun to see these young kids, these fresh faces, like these. I don't know. I love to see it. I did pick the Chiefs to win today. After the way they played against the Bills last week, I just thought there's no way anyone's stopping them. The way the Chiefs played in the first half today, I was like, this team's unstoppable. And then it all fell apart from there. But also, I did it, I guess, somewhat purposely because my picks have been such garbage lately that I was like, yeah, you know what? I'm going to pick against the Bengals, but I'm still cheering for the Bengals to win.
How could I be wrong more than I already am? Oh, yeah. I know. I'll keep picking losers.
Yeah.
Before we move on here, one thought that crossed my mind, and I actually tweeted this out about overtime, was part of me, and I don't really want to see Mahomes go to another Super Bowl. I also don't want to see the Bengals go to the Super Bowl. So it was a lose-lose at that point for me. Um, but part of me wanted Mahomes to go down and not let Burrow touch the ball and score a touchdown, because I think that would have put a lot of pressure on the NFL to change those overtime rules in back-to-back weeks. You don't let two of the youngest up and coming stars, go head to head, toe to toe. They don't even get a chance in overtime via the coin flip. I just think it's one of these things that needs to be addressed and addressed soon, because I still think the Bills were going down in scoring. Who knows what would have happened there? And I also would have, even though, I don't like the Bengals, obviously they're a division rival, but I also would have hated to see Mahomes march down the field and not let Burrow have a shot at going to the Super Bowl, because you lost a coin flip. Like, tails never fails. Oh, except for last week. I saw that. Someone was like, oh, tails never fails. And they're like, oh, ask Josh Allen how that worked out for him. So
Right.
I kind of wish it just put the pressure on the NFL to change the overtime rules. Again, I don't have the answer, but I know there is a more fair way of doing it than what we have right now. And I'm excited to dive into that over the off season, because I know there's going to be lots of talks about that.
And I just want to give a quick shout out to Glassy as well, because Glassy said it like after the divisional round. I'm pretty sure Glassy said it. He was taking the Bengals to win the AFC and go all the way to the Super Bowl. So
shout out that too.
Yeah, shout out Glassy for hitting that nail on the head. Can't wait to see your Super Bowl prediction and see what the Beans have to say.
It's gonna be a fun conversation. You guys aren't gonna want to miss that one.
Yeah.
All right. The game that just ended a couple hours ago, the Jedi Master Kyle Shanahan, the young Padawan Sean McVay go head to head. I love these playoffs. The 20, I don't know if it's like 21 or 22, but this year's playoffs have been so much fun to watch. There hasn't been, and maybe I'll like knock on wood a little bit here, because nobody wants to end this playoff run with a crappy Super Bowl that is, reminiscent of, I guess the last time the Rams were in the Super Bowl and they got, was that the one they played?
Patriots?
Oh yeah, it was the Patriots.
10-3.
That was a boring one.
It's brutal.
Yeah. So I just want a good Super Bowl, because this year's playoffs, man, like championship round looked at divisional round and was like, oh yeah, you think that was good? Hold my beer, and just went to town on it. Last possession games is all you can ask for as a just football fan. When your team's out, if my team is in there, I want to see them win 100-0 every time. I would rather everyone else be bored and I get to, celebrate the Lombardi. But
that's like me with Super Bowl 48. So many people are like, oh, that was one of the worst Super Bowls of all time. It was so boring and blah. I'm like, nope, it was fantastic. Yeah. I loved it.
Right. Why?
My team won 43-8. The game was practically over at halftime.
Yeah, because you didn't have Tom Brady on the other side.
And then Percy Harvin returned the second half kickoff, and I was like, yeah, this game's over, and I just got to enjoy the rest of the game.
Let's start celebrating early.
Right? Yeah.
Monday Chris is not going to be happy with Sunday Chris right now.
Sunday night, Chris's wife was not happy with Sunday night Chris.
Fair enough.
Yeah. You shouldn't online shop when you're drunk. That's all I'm going to say, guys. That's all I'm going to say. I may or may not have ordered 2 subscriptions of Sports Illustrated.
Someone take that man's phone away. No phone for you, Christopher.
Yeah.
So this game, obviously, you had mentioned it, how the Niners had the Rams number all season. I think they had won 6 straight against them. And you know what? When I can't remember, I think it was like late third quarter. What were they down 10 or something like that? And they just hadn't been moving the ball. I was like, man, Chris is right. Like, this is just their kryptonite. Like, they just can't get over that hump. And I'm super happy for Matthew Stafford. I've always been a big fan of Stafford. I know, I feel like he's one of the players you either love him or you hate him. I'm super happy that he's going to be going to his first Super Bowl. I'm sure when he got drafted by the Lions and then, signed his extension, was like, oh, why did I do that? I'm never going to see a Super Bowl in my life. But I also just like, I think we talked about this on an episode earlier, when the rest of the league is doing one thing by like hoarding picks and building for the future, the Rams are like, first round picks, they don't mean anything to us anyways. So here, take it for, Stafford, and we'll take Odell Beckham, and we're just going to, load up for this big Super Bowl run that we know we're going on. So I was super happy to see the Rams win. They were my pick. They saved me from getting a bagel boy like you did this weekend, Chris. So I was 1 for 2, and I'll take it. 50% is better than 0.
Yeah, I picked the Niners. I was 0 for 2. The Rams had a very clear and obvious game plan. Take out Deebo Samuel.
Yeah.
Every time Deebo Samuel has the ball, is near the ball, is like even thinking about the ball, hit him as hard as you can and make him regret touching the ball.
And he still almost had 100 all-purpose yards and a touchdown.
Oh yeah, like he's still
that's how good he is.
Yeah, he's still absolutely ridiculous. But the you could tell the Rams were just doing their best to make him regret life, regret playing football, regret being the best player on his team. Like, just they were punishing him. And good for them. It worked. I mean, it worked. They basically eliminated him from the game plan, and he wasn't able to be in for every down. And everyone knows he is the 49ers offense. I was right before George Kittle scored his touchdown. I was actually about to text some friends of mine being like, it's really weird how quiet George Kittle's been today. And then he got his touchdown, but like that was his first touchdown in 6 games.
He only had 2 catches today.
Yeah. And it was like 23 yards or something like that. Like it wasn't.
I think I have it up here. He only had 5 targets.
Yeah.
So, I mean, they went to Brandon Ayuk a bit more. But they also went to Jermichael Hasty, had 3 receiving targets. Eli Mitchell had 3. Jennings had 2. So, yeah, good. Like you said, good for the Rams by doing that, because if they didn't take out Deebo Samuel, he can take over a game easily, which is kind of weird how the Niners didn't do that with Cooper Kupp. Like,
yeah.
And I mean, it's one of those things where you try your best to limit, not eliminate a guy like Deebo Samuel or a guy like Cooper Kupp. But I mean, he had 142 yards, 2 touchdowns. I think that's just the difference between this Rams team on offense is they've got Cooper Kupp. They had Odell Beckham go for over 100 yards. Van Jefferson wasn't used as much, obviously, but they also have a guy named Matthew Stafford throwing the ball who is more than competent versus Jimmy G, where you're like, I don't know what he's going to do with the ball. Like, at any moment, he could make a boneheaded play and fumble the ball or turn the ball over or just make the wrong read and check down to be too safe. So
I've been saying it for years. Jimmy Garoppolo is one of the worst quarterbacks I've ever watched play. Like, I watch him in the pocket and he's not comfortable in the pocket. He just looks nervous. He's got, I think I said it last week or 2 weeks ago. He's got Jimmy legs when he's in the pocket there. He
He kind of like bounces, right?
Yeah, like he looks so uncomfortable in the pocket. Like he feels like he's gonna he's just waiting to get hit. It feels like. So I've never been a Jimmy Garoppolo fan. The way that game ended today was, I think, just perfection. Like that was just that was Jimmy. That's Jimmy. That's you guys have been singing his praises, and then your season ends like that, because that's who he is, and that's who he always has been.
Yeah, I'm not a big supporter of him. I don't think he's good. Me, it is kind of weird how much they paid to trade up to get Trey Lance, and they allowed Jimmy G to sort of just be half-ass all play. Like at no point in the playoffs did he take over a game where you're like, wow, he really is at least doing something to make this decision look somewhat good. Like, I'm going to hand this ball off to Deebo, and he's going to run through 18 tackles and hurdle a guy while punching another guy in the face and drop kicking another guy to get into the end zone. Like that big touchdown, catch and run that he had was ridiculous. Like there's no way he should have scored that. So
No.
On paper, it makes Jimmy look good, where I'm like, any quarterback can hit those little checkdowns and let a freak specimen do that. Or, let George Kittle have that, mismatch in the red zone where he's, dunking on undersized DBs or whoever it is. Right. I'm shocked. Like, I will always, I guess, digress to the coaching staff because they have more information than I do. I just, with what you're seeing from a guy like Jimmy G, I don't think Trey Lance could be worse than that. I think he gives you more options to just even to free up other people with the threat of his legs alone. It makes it so you can't like completely take out Deebo Samuel or like, stack the front just for, a handoff to a running back or something like that. So a little bit of strange questions there. I don't know what the 49ers do going from here, but it's got to be Trey Lance season, right?
Trading Jimmy to Pittsburgh, probably.
Oh, please.
Yeah.
Oh, please.
Yeah, you'll understand the Jimmy legs when you get to see him twice a year for 5 years.
Look, I've seen a lot of, jersey swap things on Twitter. I've seen Aaron Rodgers in, the black and gold. I've seen Deshaun Watson in the black. Please no to those two. But if Jimmy G wants to get traded there, I hope they have to pay like a first round pick for him or something like that, or they just give, silly things away. But the 49ers absolutely cannot re-sign him. Mysteries.
I think he's under contract.
So is he under? I think he does have one more year. He's got it.
Yeah, I'm just gonna look it up right now. But the scariest thing, did you see at the end of the game when Aaron Donald forced that stupid interception by Garoppolo, and he just like angrily stomps away and he's yelling, "This is my stadium! This is my stadium!" It's like,
no, I didn't see that.
Somebody do not piss that man off.
Which is funny because I don't know about you, but as I was listening to the game, like, I didn't know if you were just listening to crowd noise, you couldn't tell who was on offense or who was on defense. Yeah. Like, I know there was that big thing. I want to say it was Andrew Whitworth's wife was like, oh, hey, Rams fans or season ticket holders or whatever, please don't sell your tickets to 49ers fans. Like, I'll buy them off you, sort of thing. We want the house to be rocking. And then Frank Gore and
Joe Staley,
that's who it was.
Yeah.
Piped up and were like, hey, Rams fans, we'll buy all of them, just so you know. And man, like, I know it's a beautiful stadium. It'd be lots of fun to play in LA, but the crowd there just sucks as a home team. I guess there is an advantage to that. You are always playing every single one of your games in no home field advantage. So even when you go on the road, you're just so used to playing like that it just becomes second nature, I guess.
Yeah. So Garoppolo does have 1 year left on his contract, but
Imagine
any team that trades for him it'd be stupid. His cap hit is almost $27 million cap hit. But if you just wait for the 49ers to cut him, the 49ers only have to take on 1.4 million in dead cap. So just wait. Just wait. They'll cut him, like, to save themselves $25.5 million. They'll cut him, and then you'll just pick him up for free. Don't trade for him.
Do you think they're gonna cut them? Like,
yeah.
Do you think like there's a sliver of an alternate reality somewhere where Kyle Shanahan knows his system can be successful with Jimmy G? Obviously, it can be successful. He's winning games. He's going to the NFC Championship. Do you think there's like a sliver of Kyle Shanahan saying, I don't want to get rid of this guy because I don't know what we have quite yet in Trey Lance?
Maybe, sure. A sliver, sure. Yeah.
You don't think it's enough to even consider that they're not?
No. You said it already. They gave up a ton of draft capital to move up to third overall to get Trey Lance. They sat him. They played him in the odd game here and there where Jimmy was hurt. Are you really going to sit your third overall pick 2 years in a row?
To me,
are you going to waste a rookie contract at the most expensive position in football for 2 years because you think maybe this guy that's proven he's not very good is the best quarterback for your system?
Okay, so let me make something very, very clear that I think they should cut him. Mm-hmm. I absolutely think they should cut him. I just don't know with Kyle Shanahan that there could be a chance that they keep him so that they don't have to lose him for nothing, essentially. I was just looking. It looks like they are pretty tight up against the cap already next year, like $5 to $6 million somewhere in there. But there's always a chance that because they have enough pieces on rookie contracts that they could potentially wait one more. I think it's crazy, but maybe they do the crazy, or maybe they're just like super smart and they're like, oh, what could we get for, $26 million? Maybe shoring up the line even more to give Trey Lance more time, or bringing in like a big wide receiver target to be that third one with Ayuk, with Samuel, with having Kittle there. All I can say is that defense is for real, man. That 49ers defense, they fly around with their hair on fire. They just play so cohesively, so well together. They know their assignments. They tackle really well. Fred Warner might be the best linebacker in the league this year. Like he's dominating every game. You hear him all the time. You see him making big plays. And obviously with having D'Amico Ryans as their defensive coordinator, I think the sky's the limit for that defense. That sucks to hear as a Seahawks fan. I know that, but I know you're also a realist and you see football properly. So I know that's going to be a problem for a long time to come.
Oh yeah, Kinlaw, Warner, Al-Shaair at linebacker, Bosa, Armstead. God, who else do they have on the D line there? They're especially their front seven is redonkulous. Just absolute insanity. So, I mean, so is the Rams. I mean, you look at the Rams. Especially the Rams front four, and then like the Rams DBs. It's like Jesus Christ. Like there's, and then you go to the Cardinals. They've got J.J. Watt and Chandler Jones and Isaiah Simmons. It's just like that's why offensive line has been such an important thing that the Seahawks have needed for all these years. Is because like we're facing these just insane defenses twice a year.
Yeah.
It's way she goes.
Yeah, the way she goes, bud. One more thing I wanted to talk about. It kind of reminded me when the game ended. Obviously, Odell Beckham could be out there celebrating with his teammates, and he beelines it for the 49ers bench. He sees Deebo Samuel with a towel over his head, crying. He's devastated that they just lost, and he's just going over there to console another fellow wide receiver, and he just recognizes how good Deebo is and how much that means to him. Uh, so obviously, we've talked about it before. I love seeing players who, show that emotion that this means so much to them. That they just can't help their emotions because he's so close to going to a Super Bowl, and then obviously with the whole Cleveland drama with Odell, like, sorry, Browns fans, it wasn't Odell. Like, the rest of the league knew it wasn't Odell. Steve Smith Sr. definitely knew it wasn't Odell Beckham being the problem. So, good for Odell. He gets to go to a place where, his talents are maximized. And what a 1-2 punch to have in Cooper Kupp and Odell Beckham on that team for, a gunslinger like Stafford to get to throw to all the time.
Yeah.
Well, Chris, a little bit of sad news for people. Chris and I decided that we are going to take the week off of everyone's favorite segment of their week, the third down segment. Unfortunately, if you've been following along on the lives, you've seen Chris maybe coughing a time or two and struggling through. So we said we were just going to do an hour episode. So our little gaffer Chris here can get some sleep and get back on the mend. So I will leave the last words to you, bud.
Yeah, sorry guys. Quarantine Chris doesn't have it in him.
Your new name.
Yeah. No, it ends tonight.
Yeah.
Thank you guys for tuning in to another episode of the Ball Hawks podcast. As I mentioned at the open, we are a part of the Dean Blundell Network. Please subscribe to our podcast wherever you listen: Apple, Spotify, Stitcher, Google, wherever it may be. Don't forget to leave us a rating and review as well. We do like seeing those things pop up in our timeline. Give us a follow over on Twitter and all social media at ballhawks_pod. You can find me on Twitter at PhillipsChris12. Don't forget my buddy Steve at SSFisher87. Can't wait for the Super Bowl, guys, but as always, go Hawks.